What's up, my archfiends of chaos? This is your king of the night, Vincent Valentine, EX Turk.
Subscribe to Vincent Valentine EX Turk channel.
What's up, my archfiends of chaos? This is Vincent Valentine EX Turk, coming at you with another brand new video, another Final Fantasy segment, and we're going to be talking about Final Fantasy VII. So Final Fantasy VII, and we're going to be talking about one of the heroes, or should I say Avalanche members, Vincent Valentine. And the question is Vincent Valentine a supernatural hero? And we're going to get into it now. Yes, I think so. First of all, his transformations to various monsters and demons to fight off bad guys. And Vincent Valentine's origins were kind of supernatural, mixed with a little bit of science and espionage, as the fact that Hojo actually had to put the other monsters in Vincent for chaos to work, but it was deemed a failure. But Lucretia Crescent brought Vincent Valentine back to life using chaos. And chaos, chaos weapon is a weapon that's a demon. Is the dark weapon of the Final Fantasy series. So yeah, and in the original concept art, Vincent Valentine was supposed to be a horror researcher, and he was actually supposed to get chaos by actually going into a haunted building. And this is why his origins are tied to Shinra Manor, because that's the place he was supposed to go into. He was supposed to go into Shinra Manor to fight all the monsters that he transforms into. And if you know anything about old classic horror movies, all of Vincent Valentine's Limit Break transformations are based off horror movies. His first form is of a chimera, werewolf, hybrid looking thing, which is only in supernatural folklore. And the second monster Vincent Valentine turns into is Death Gygus. Death Gygus is actually supposed to be Frankenstein, the Frankenstein monster. Hence why Death Gygus uses lightning attacks. And that's why Death Gygus uses lightning attacks because that's what he's based off of. Then the third monster is actually two monsters: Jason Voorhees and Leatherface. Except Hellmasker does not use a normal chainsaw. His is a magical chainsaw that could cut through just anything. It could even probably cut some of the meteor that gets sent from the world by Sephiroth. It could cut pieces of that meteor. That's how strong his chainsaw is. But it's also the fact that Vincent Valentine can only use the nightmare ability, pretty much make you see your worst nightmares in the form of Hellmaster. Only form he can actually, send you to an eternal nightmare, and that's why it's called Nightmare, which causes your status ailments to go down. And then you gotta also think the game Dirge of Cerberus plays like Devil May Cry, with Hellsing type of story, except it's against a science-based army, but Vincent Valentine could turn into the chimeric form known as Galleon Beast and Chaos in the end of it. Not to mention, Vincent Valentine is technically a zombie, because Lucretia Crescent reanimates his body, putting chaos inside. Now, there's people who mistake Vincent Valentine for being a vampire just because he's in a casket. No, he just only was in a casket because he was depressed about Lucretia's death and didn't want just like Arden, he didn't want his immortality. He didn't want to feel immortal after everything that's happened. Vincent has lost the will to live because of what happened to Lucretia, the woman he was engaged to. But realistically, Vincent Valentine was actually a zombie. a reanimated corpse, pretty much. After Hojo shot him, Lucretia Crescent put him in the healing chamber with Chaos cells, and the Chaos cells regenerated all of Vincent Valentine's organs that were shut down, especially the brain that got hit by Hojo's bullet. You know, Chaos regenerated, and since Vincent Valentine's body was strong enough, arguably, Vincent Valentine's body is pretty much just as strong as Sephiroth's body, considering the monsters that got put in there are equivalent to Genova cells in them. So, arguably, Vincent could have been a first-class soldier if he would have chosen soldier on the fact that, you know, his experimental body actually made it so Chaos, yeah, sure, it ate his limb off, and that's why he has the gold frankincense limb. But also, if you look at the Dirge of Cerberus gun, and Cerberus is something of supernatural, because in Greek mythology, Cerberus was the dog that guarded hell, pretty much. You know, kept people that shouldn't come out. You know, and you get the mythology. And Dirge of Cerberus is actually a theme-based game on that Greek mythology story, on the fact that Vincent Valentine, after defeating Azul the Cerulean, says, we're going to now the gates of hell, because that's what Deep Ground's supposed to be. And pretty much, Vice the Accumulate is supposed to be a depiction of Hades. You know. And then Vincent Valentine's gun's named Cerberus, and on that, Cerberus looks like one of those first century type of guns. It does not look like a normal regular handgun. A Cerberus gun looks like one of those guns back in, you know, back into the Van Helsing type of era. You know, what is it called? I'm trying to think. The Transylvania era, pretty much. So the Cerberus gun design itself is really old. So yes, in a way, even his weapons are supernatural base as well. And also his fiancée Lucretia Crescent also found a certain way to keep her immortality, even though it would make her stay in a crystal, and pretty much I call it eternal life support, but whatever. But anyways, yes, Vincent Valentine is most likely a supernatural hero of Avalanche. I mean, not only his ability with magic is really good, but the fact is, his transformations, his weapon, and even the Dirge of Cerberus game plays alongside a revamped version of the Greek mythology stories with some of Dante's Inferno mixed with, you know, Cerberus. The Cerberus story. So technically, yes, Vincent Valentine would be considered. You'd be considered a supernatural hero. So may the crystal be with you. Like and subscribe, and may the crystal be with you.